62% of all data breaches come from third-party relationships, meaning if you're relying on something like ChatGPT, AWS, Stripe, etc., 62% of all hacks come from people like you that uses those platforms. So because of that, if you're someone who uses N8N, Make.com, Zapier, whatever, to connect those third-party relationships to your automations, to your backend, to your personal CRM, etc., you're at risk to not only leak your information, but your clients as well. And in 2025 going forward for the rest of human history, most likely, data is going to be gold. Whoever has the most data is going to be able to make the most decisions and ultimately have the most power. So I'm going to show you how to prevent hackers from getting into your N8N workflows. So we have three main methods to protect your N8N workflows whenever you're using a third-party relationship or you're opening up your backend to third-party relationships. So the first method is API keys. This is pretty simple. Most people understand this concept. You're basically getting a password or a key that will allow you into a service. For example, if you wanted to use ChatGPT in your, your N8N workflow, right? Your backend, you would need the API key to prove, for one, that you have an account, it's funded, and that you're the authorized user of that account. So if we go over here to the webhook, we have a mock data set up right here. Boom, there we go. So now if we run this, so if we go ahead and run this, boom, the backend will detect that it's a secret or a secret key, API key. It's all the same thing depending on how you want to frame it. So after this point right here, pretty simple. I don't really have to explain this part. Let's go ahead and run it again. Boom. Now, if we open this up, the API key is not equal to the value we have saved as the actual key. We look here, the system or the backend is detecting or looking for a API key with the value of demo underscore key underscore 123. And if we check over here, the API key is test API key ABC123. So it's not going to allow it, meaning this API key will not get access to the backend. So this is important because, for one, API keys are one of the least secure methods compared to these two down here, but they're the easiest to not only use for the typical user, but at the same time, it's very straightforward to set up in the backend. So if we look here, it's going to return a 400 code, meaning the API key wasn't the actual password. But if you check right here, in the body, it still says authorized user. Now, you have to be careful with this because even though the name can be set up as an authorized user, like the body or the message being sent through, it can have things like, okay, it's authorized user, don't worry about it, boom, boom, boom. If you're relying on, let's just say, an OpenAI node for some odd reason to be security for your backend, it would automatically fail because it's reading this right here. So it would assume that the user is authorized, even though it failed the password key here. So again, I wouldn't recommend setting up your entire backend for API key unless it's something low risk. Like if you're just giving someone access to let's just say an image generator, whatever, something very simple, very low end. If you have a whole bunch of logic to limit how many times it can be ran per key or etc., then it wouldn't be that bad. But if you're dealing with any information like client, patient information, banking, etc., evidence, if you're a lawyer, I wouldn't recommend API keys. So moving on to the second method. Actually, before we move on, let me actually go ahead and show you what it would look like if this was a correct password. So we go ahead and go here. What was the password? I'll discard. I forget. It was a demo key. Okay. Come in here. Boom. Copy this really quick. Boom. Nope, it's the wrong node. Come in here. Boom. Boom. Save this. Boom. Boom. And we go over here. We will get a status 200, meaning it's all good to go. So now moving on to the second method. Now, this method right here is called an HMAC, which pretty much stands for hash-based message auth code. I'm not going to say very simple. If you're new to all this, it might not be that straightforward. But basically, this is probably the most secure version of a lock and key method, if you want to, think of it like that. I'm gonna try my best not to make it super technical in my terminology and how I'm explaining it. Basically, this method right here. First let's go ahead and run it. Boom, there we go. Now, what this does, it pretty much, so it works like this. There's a sender key and a receiver key. Now, every time that the sender attempts to contact the backend, it'll check, okay, is this the correct key? Yes. Now, is the secret or the hash of it correct? Now, we can open this up. This right here is the signature. Now, pretend that you're this, the receiver and I'm the sender. And I'm trying to send you this message right here saying that I'm an authorized user. However, there should be a hash here. Well, let's just assume that this right here is the hash. Now, hash is pretty much a secret key or formula used to decrypt a message or to read it. So if I sent you this message saying, hey, this is me, and this is the message that I have for you. When I send this message using the key and the hash, it would formulate a new phrase for this message. So it will look something like this. Just to show you really quick. Boom, come up here. Okay, boom. This is the secret hash, right? Now, when you decrypt this message, it'll say something like this. Exactly like this. However, if this message was tampered with, then it would say something like, give me the passwords. Just for an example. Now, if your message using this security method was tampered with, you would automatically know because the hash isn't exactly like the message. Again, I'm not going to get too technical, but pretty much this method makes sure that the message that was originally sent hasn't been tampered with or edited in transit. And at the same time, it double checks for signature, like an API key almost. It's just more secure overall. I'm not going to get too deep into it. I'll discard that. But pretty much, it does the same thing as before with the making sure it's successful. Come over here, boom. Status 200, secret is good. However, if we came in here and changed it around, it would give a false message. Now, I recommend that you use this method right here if you're really serious about security. It's harder to set up. It's more work on the front end and then the back end. However, your data would be much safer compared to using an API key or an OAuth, which is the next method I'll get into. But if you're dealing with patient information, credit card information, or any data overall, I mean, I wouldn't be cheap with this. There's two things I will never be cheap with: security and technology. Never, ever, ever. You don't want to be cheap and somehow end up leaking your client's information, because not only is your trust going to go out the door for your brand, your business, but you're going to be dealing with a lawsuit and potentially a loss of financials depending on your setup or what your business is holding. Just invest more. I mean, if you can't do it yourself, find someone who can. If you have an automation or any type of backend going on right now and you want to secure it, I highly recommend you click the link in the description, book a free call. We can sit down 15-20 minutes and discuss not only what your backend is right now, but the best methods and practices to secure you and your business. Because again, 61% or 62%, sorry, of data leaks come from third-party relationships, meaning using stuff like this and not securing it is what causes more than 50% of hacks out there today. And that's rising right now with AI technology, with all this crazy stuff going on in the world right now. You don't want to leave yourself open to attacks. So please look into this yourself, or if you want someone to come into your business and hold your hand through the whole process, do it for you. You don't gotta waste no time, no energy on it. Click link down below. Let's get to talking. But moving on to method number 3. So OAuth, if you look right here, is very similar to API keys. It's basically a token, or again, a signature, password. However, it's more secure than a typical API key because not only does it expire after a set amount of time, so if you're using it or you give someone a token or a bearer key, it'll last for maybe a day, a week, whatever, however long you set it. And then from there, you can give them scopes. So if I gave you the key of demo token 123, and I only wanted you to do, let's just say, reading chat messages, you can't, actually no, I only want you to send messages. You can't read them, you can't download them, You can't get information. Only thing you can do is send a message. That's it. You can control more about who's using the app, or you can give people access without giving them full control. API key is more of a developer thing compared to OAuth. OAuth is for more of the public because you can control it. API key, you just give it, you get access to everything, you do what you gotta do. So if you're not gonna be super technical and you don't wanna go through all the HMACing, then OAuth is a great alternative as well. So it works pretty much the same way as the API key, so I'm not gonna waste too much time on it. But this is really good because, for one, if you have let's just say a app or software that allows users to access your system for records, information, scraping, whatever, it's good because, for one, if you want to give them access, but you only want them to do one part of your service, meaning you only want them to read the messages that are coming through for them in their account, you can do that. However, if they're a higher paid user, like a plus plan, you can also give them access to download pass records. You can give them access to secret chats, etc. So it's really good for that. And not only that, but they expire after a certain amount of time. So if a hacker was sitting here, right, let's just pretend that this is a hacker, right? Just because, boom. This AI agent is a bad actor. It's a hacker looking to steal information. Now, if they run this right here, right, the OAuth token, this right here, would be stolen by the hacker. However, even if they get that token and they try to use it again later on, it would be expired, meaning they can't use it anymore. It's expired and they generate a new one. However, only a verified user can generate a new one. But if they're quick enough and they take it and use it right away, then they could get access to it again. It all depends on the setup and the expiration date of said token. Again, this method is pretty good. I recommend you go for HMAC, but if you can't do it for whatever reason, then I would fall back on the OAuth. I wouldn't recommend the API key. I would stick to OAuth 100%. But again, this isn't a super technical video. I made another video going into these details way more in depth. I'll link it up here somewhere. But again, if you have any questions, please comment down below. Reach out to me on Instagram, email, TikTok. I'm on TikTok the most. Reach out to me on there and we can talk about it. But again, if you're in the healthcare business, law, especially healthcare, because listen, personal information is going to get huge. And if you get information, let's just say a hacker breaks into your clinic, your dentistry, whatever, and you get your patient records, if your client information gets into the wrong hands and they pretend to be them, they just start, they start generating sore-tooth videos of them saying certain things, and they get to that person like, hey, we're going to drop this video if you don't give us $100,000. We have all your information. We're going to let everybody know. We're going to ruin your career, whatever. Just an extreme example. All that would happen because of you and your faulty system. Don't let that happen to you. I'm telling you right now, security is going to be a major thing in the near future, especially when it comes to automation and these AI services. So if you don't want to be in that situation, I highly recommend you look into it yourself. You hire someone, bring someone on your team, or again, book a free call. We can sit down and talk about it, and I can put you on to any information that I have to help you in your business. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you.